Konnichiwa. Okay, so today, since it is the week of Valentine's Day, I figured I would recommend 4 animes that are just wholesome romances. Because I feel like nowadays, spicy romance is more the thing, which is great. I love me a spicy manhwa and stuff, but sometimes you want something just sweet, because I feel like we're relying on the spicy aspects of romance a little bit too much. Like, I find myself watching things, and if there's no spice, I'm like, this is not engaging. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about 4 animes that I really like and I think are just so wholesome and cute, and I'm gonna put them on a scale of the most wholesome to wholesome. Yeah, the most wholesome to wholesome, because they're all wholesome in their own ways. Yeah. So let's talk about them. And hopefully you will watch them at some point this month. Because in my head, the whole month is a month of love. It's also Black History Month. Happy Black History Month. Support Black creators. Anyway, and I mean, even if you've watched these already, watch them again, because they're just really good animes. Okay, first up is a romance anime where the unlikely guy finally gets the girl. And it is one of the sweetest, most wholesome romance animes you will ever watch. Takeo is not your typical romance anime protagonist with his tall, buff build, thick eyebrows, and deep voice. He looks more like a sumo wrestler rather than a high school freshman. But beneath his intimidating exterior lies a truly gentle giant who is selfless, heroic, and always puts others before himself. However, girls never see him this way. No matter who he's had a crush on in the past, they always fall for his best friend, Sunakawa. And Sunakawa is your very typical ice prince. He's cool and smart and effortlessly popular. After years of heartbreak, Takeo just accepts the fact that maybe romance is never going to be in the cards for him. But everything changes one day when he saves this sweet and adorable girl named Rinko from a creep on the train. He instantly falls in love with her, but thinking that she likes Sunakawa like many of his crushes before her, he plays matchmaker for them instead, despite his own feelings. Now, to his surprise, Rinko actually likes him too. And unlike the girls before her, she actually sees Takeo for who he really is, a kind, sweet, endlessly caring guy. And what follows is a refreshingly wholesome romance where misunderstandings are sweet, the love is pure, and the cliches are thrown out the window. This isn't your typical shoujo anime where, your pretty heroine falls in love with the hot bad boy. Instead, we have the gentle giant be the protagonist. And I think having a more unconventional male lead versus a more typical male lead like Sunakawa would be, I think it sets this anime apart, because instead of having your more conventional beauty standard, we see the unconventional beauty standard and how that love and romance plays out. Now, instead of dragging out some sort of unnecessary love triangle, because Rinko and Takeo tell each other their feelings pretty much right away, that drama is like non-existent, which leaves more room to see these two grow in a relationship. On top of that, because they tell each other their feelings earlier on in the show rather than waiting all the way till the end, instead of watching a chase happen throughout the whole show, we're actually watching a relationship develop. And I find that with a lot of romance anime and stuff, it's more about the chase that's exciting. It's the lead up to them actually getting together. But in this story, the excitement is from actually watching them already in a relationship together. Because I just find myself like, if I'm reading manhwas and stuff, I'm more excited about the chase leading up to the relationship rather than them being in the relationship, because once they get into the relationship it's usually boring. So with this, that's not the case, because it's actually really sweet watching these, you know, young teenagers fall in love for the first time and navigate that relationship, and it's just so sweet to watch. Going off of that, seeing a couple that is equally devoted to each other and, you know, this mutual respect that they have, seeing them work out their issues or problems, even if it's awkward, is really sweet and like endearing. Speaking of sweet and endearing, I also love Takeo's friendship with Sunakawa. I like that there is no like rivalry between them or anything like that. You can tell Sunakawa is not really close to people in his life, you know, it's just a handful of people, and so to see him really care about Takeo is so sweet. He's constantly rooting for him, and he clearly just wants the best for him, and he sees in Takeo what Takeo can't see in himself. The friendship between Takeo and Sunakawa is honestly just as entertaining and sweet to see as his relationship with Rinko. Overall, My Love Story is a feel-good romance anime that breaks typical, you know, shoujo anime tropes. So if you're looking for something that's heartwarming and funny, My Love Story is definitely what you want to watch. What happens when a mischievous senior starts to fall for a shy underclassman who just so happens to like BL manga, but doesn't realize that his own love story is unfolding in front of him? Miyano is a quiet high schooler with a secret. He is obsessed with BL manga. One day he finds himself caught in the middle of a schoolyard fight, and before he can react, a rebellious senior, Sasaki, steps in. And from that moment on, Sasaki is drawn to Miyano. His quirks, his kindness, and even his love for BLs. Curious and playful, Sasaki starts to tease his way into Miyano's world by trying to get into the same interests as him, thus asking him for BL manga recommendations, getting closer to him every day, and slowly but surely falling for him. Now, while Sasaki is open about his developing feelings, Miyano is left confused. He's never really thought about love like this before, despite being heavily into BL manga. As their friendship deepens, so do these stolen glances, lingering touches, and unspoken words between them. Is Sasaki just teasing, or does he really have feelings for Miyano? And if he does, well, what does that mean? Will Miyano realize his own feelings, or will he let his love story slip away? Unlike many other BLs that focus on forbidden love or angst or toxic dynamics, this one delivers a slow burn, heartwarming romance about two boys that are, you know, discovering their feelings at their own pace. Now, because Sasaki figures out his feelings for Miyano earlier on, he never pressures Miyano to get to the same pace that he's at. If anything, he supports him emotionally and is understanding of the journey that he's on compared to his own, which ends in them having a very respectful relationship. I also like that Miyano having this love of BL adds this self-awareness to the whole show, where he's clearly self-aware but unself-aware at the same time. Because as much as he loves BL and understands the tropes and stuff, he almost doesn't realize his own love story unfolding in front of him, right? And even though he is a very avid lover of BLs, he's never really considered that he may want that sort of romance for himself, which obviously leads to a little bit of confusion when Sasaki steps into his life and, you know, he's starting to feel these certain feelings for him. Overall, Sasakitomiyano is a heartwarming BL that takes the typical school romance and turns it into a gentle, slow burn of self-discovery and the simple joys of falling in love. So this is obviously a great one if you like BLs, and you want to see a sweet, more wholesome BL that's a little bit of a slow burn. It is really sweet. I feel like a lot of BLs nowadays, it's like it has to be spicy or no one really cares about it. But this one, give it a go. It's adorable. What happens when a tomboy confesses her love to her crush, but he only sees her as one of the guys? Well, for Tomo-Chan, it's nothing but frustration. Tomo has been in love with her best friend, Jun, for years. Problem is, he doesn't even really see her as a girl. Growing up as best buds, Tomo and Jun would wrestle, play sports, and roughhouse like brothers. With her athletic skills, blunt personality, and tomboyish nature, Tomo has always fit in with the guys. But now that she wants Jun to see her as a girl, things get complicated. Her first attempt at confessing her feelings to Jun is a disaster. Not because he rejects her, but because he doesn't even realize that she's confessing to him. Determined to make Jun see her differently, Tomo embarks on a chaotic journey to embrace her femininity, without losing the strong and confident girl that she's always been. By her side to help her, and sometimes sabotaging her, are her two best friends, Carol and Misuzu. As Tomo struggles to break out of the bro zone, Jun is also questioning everything. Could his attachment to Tomo be more than just friendship? And why does the thought of losing her to someone else bother him so much? This isn't your typical childhood friends to lovers story. This show cleverly explores how gender roles affect relationships, while Tomo-Chan is, struggling with being seen as one of the guys, and she now wants to be seen as one of the girls. And then when Jun is kind of struggling with his own thing as to what it even means to like a girl. That being said, I also like that Tomo is this, she's a strong female lead, but I feel like typically with strong female leads, they are still overtly feminine. There's this one character I'm thinking of, I can't remember the name of the anime right now. It's an old one. I'll put it somewhere on the screen or whatever. But I think of her when I think of this, strong female lead where she's tomboyish but overtly feminine. You look at her and there's no mistaking that she's a girl and that she presents as a girl. I like that on her journey to try and get Jun to see her as a girl for once, she doesn't ever sacrifice her true self. That being said, this show is also filled with action-packed, comedic fight scenes because both of these characters are into martial arts and have been doing martial arts their entire lives, and Tomo is better at martial arts than Jun, and so Jun's whole life mission is to beat her for once because she never lets him win. These fight scenes also act as a metaphor for the struggles that they are experiencing in their relationship, which is, also entertaining. That's sort of almost like their love language, right? Martial arts. And throughout the show, Jun starts to realize that maybe he's been in love with Tomo the whole time, since they met when they were really young kids, and back then, when they were really young, he didn't know at first that she was a girl. Even in those flashback scenes and stuff, it seems like he has particular feelings for her that at that young age maybe he wouldn't be able to completely grasp, but you know what I mean? So it kind of seems like maybe those feelings have always been there even before he knew that she was a girl, and it kind of reminds me of Mulan, when Shang starts to Ping before he knows that Ping is Mulan. You know what I'm saying? Overall, Tomo-Chan is a Girl is a heartfelt, hilarious anime that, explores the gender dynamics within a relationship as well as the friends to lovers trope. So it's action-packed, it's funny, it has great side characters as well. Tomo's two best friends are night and day different, but they are hilarious. So this one is definitely a feel-good one if you want to laugh especially. It's just peak anime-ness. What if falling in love wasn't just an option, but a literal trap? For Anzu Hoshino, romance is the last thing on her mind. Because who needs a boyfriend when you have video games, chocolate, and your beloved cat, Momohiki? Life is perfect until it's not. One day, a mischievous magical creature named Riri appears out of literally nowhere and declares that Anzu has been selected for an experiment. An experiment to fix Japan's declining interest in romance. The mission? To transform Anzu into the perfect shoujo heroine by putting her in every single romantic cliche scenario you can think of. But there's a catch. To make sure that she is focused on her mission, Riri takes away everything that she loves. No video games, no chocolate, and no Momohiki. Now Anzu is left defenseless against the potential lineup of suitors. Her cool and effortlessly handsome classmate that ends up having to live with her, a childhood best friend that conveniently resurfaces and has always been in love with her, and a rich, arrogant hare who believes that money can buy love. Anzu is not about to play along. She fights back at every turn, rejecting love tropes and mocking cliches, as well as outsmarting Riri's schemes. What starts as a hilarious battle against romance takes a surprisingly emotional turn when Anzu realizes that her love interests are more than just part of an experiment. She realizes that some relationships are not about romance and are actually about genuine human connection. Can Anzu break free of this forced romance, or will love find her anyways? Unlike typical romance animes where the protagonist wants love, Romantic Killers flips the scripts because our girl Anzu wants nothing to do with love or romance or any of that. But fate nonetheless keeps forcing it on her. That being said, I like how this anime openly mocks romantic cliches like love triangles or right place, right time sort of thing. And that kind of makes it like a comedy first and a romance second. And because the story sort of starts off as a parody of romance, but then eventually finds its way to becoming a romance, when the romance happens, it kind of feels more earned. And it's genuinely just really fun to watch Anzu, like, avoid love at every turn and be very self-aware about what's going on around her, knowing that she's a part of this, like, experiment. Also, I like how the idea of this experiment is, like, because of Japan's declining romance, if you will, they have to send like a little magical fairy thing to get people to fall in love. I mean, everybody knows about the declining birth rates all over the world, but especially in places like Japan and Korea, so I think it's like kind of funny. Overall, Romantic Killers deconstructs typical like romance tropes while delivering you something that feels fresh and new while still being fun and emotionally compelling. Packed with comedy and satire, this anime is definitely perfect for anybody who's looking for something outside the box of a typical romance drama. So why should you watch these picks at some point this month? I think overall, like I kind of said before, nowadays, although romance is coming back in like full effect, it seems like people are not engaged with it if it's not spicy. Don't get me wrong, I love spice. I love a spicy romance. But it is nice to like take a step back sometimes and, you know, engage in a romance that is more wholesome and sweet, but is still able to keep you engaged, you know? And I feel like these 4 picks do just that. Like there's less misunderstandings, genuine connections, healthy relationships. Okay, I know everybody loves a toxic manhwa, but like sometimes it's nice to see the opposite. main couples also get together earlier on, so instead of just a perpetual chase throughout the entire series and then getting a little bit of satisfaction at the end, like, yay, they got together after 12 episodes, thank God. It's like they're together earlier on and you get to actually see them grow with each other in a relationship, you know? And I didn't really think about it before when I was picking these animes, but all of them star high schoolers, like teenagers, you know? And to see these teenagers, you know, work through their relationships together in a very healthy way and communicate, you know, and have this genuine love for each other and stuff is really nice. Because some adults can't even do that in real life. So to see it portrayed, especially with young people, is heartwarming, since nowadays everybody's in some sort of a situationship and no one's in like a real good healthy relationship. It's all about the toxic relationships. So it's nice to see something that feels genuine and long lasting. Whether it's an unlikely hero getting the girl, a BL love story that has mutual support, a tomboy challenging gender norms, or a protagonist that is actively resisting romance. I think these 4 animes kind of offer something outside the normal romance cliches that feel fun and fresh and heartfelt. So yeah, enjoy one of these adorable romances. Happy month of love and happy Black History Month. I feel like I already brought that up, but I'm bringing it up again. Support a Black creator, a Black business, a Black something, okay? Get into it. Yeah, so those are my recommendations for wholesome love stories to watch on Valentine's Day, just to take a step back from the spicy romance, you know? I don't think I have anything else to say.